Hi, I'm Holly. I write June Cleaver Nirvana, and today is Monday, and Potluck is back, so I thought we'd celebrate with a little video today. And this is like the low budget type where I'm just going to talk for a little while, and then whatever comes out gets posted, because the whole editing process is just not my cup of tea at this moment in my life. But anyway, so happy Monday, and I want to talk a little bit about reality and what's behind what you see on people's blogs. And I'm going to speak personally here because I know that sometimes you'll just, like, I will go to some place and like, oh my gosh, it's such an amazing project. Like, you know, I could never think of that. Or you know, just everything just seems like such a success. And that's not necessarily the reality behind all that. And this came to light the other day when I was at the park with my friends, and we were all sitting around just chatting. And my friend Heather was talking about how sometimes when she is reading through people's blogs and that kind of stuff, or visiting, you know, resources and different things, and we were speaking about homeschooling at that time, how sometimes you feel like you're not doing enough. And you're like, oh, I'd love to try these things with my kids. I just can't fit it into my schedule, or, you know, that would take so much more time. But it seems like everybody else is doing it or doing more. And that perception that everybody else is doing more is kind of what I want to talk about a minute. Because it came it's one of the things that was brought up this last week, because this week I'm going to post about an art installation I did on my wall. It's beautiful. I love it. And if you just visit the post and see how pretty it is and how organized, and you just would assume that it, you know, afternoon of Holly's time and this beautiful creation happens. That is so far from the truth. I think we just need to put it out on the table. So here is the confessional. 10 days ago, I found these floating frames at Target. And I love the floating frames for framing children's art. I bought the large size so I could use some of the boys' 11 by 13 page work that they had done at school and at home. And I had a spare wall which has just been glaring at me for months that needs something on it. And so I was like, oh, I was in Target. It's like, I will pick up 5 of these frames. It will look beautiful in this space. And that'll be it. And besides the fact that I haven't framed any of the kids' art for over probably 2 years. So it's about time that we get something new on the wall that they have done. So I bought the frames, brought them home, and if you know anything about floating frames, you know that it's an ordeal to go through and clean them, because you have to clean both sides of the glass, because what happens is the picture is in the middle, and then all the way around is your wall color coming through. So that's clear. So you have to make sure the glass is really clear around the artwork. So it takes about, I don't know, about 30 minutes per frame to get that all kind of completed and get the artwork centered and level and all that kind of good stuff. So, I mean, that's a pretty sizable investment of time. And so I got like maybe 3 or 4 done the first day, and then 2 or 3 that done the second day. So we're now into, you know, day 3 of the project, and I finally have 5 framed pieces of art. So I bring them to the room that I'm going to use, and where I'm going to use them, and lay them out on the floor right beside it, and then take my measurements, go to the wall, and realize that, oh, it would have been nice to do the measurements before, because this art installation is too big for this space. Like, I love big art, but this just will not fit. I mean, no. And then if I remove one, they have 4, and that's an even number, and it's not good. So I'd have to remove 2, and then it's too small. So it's not going to work. So anyway, I go to another area where I've never liked the art that's hung there, and it's a much bigger wall, and I realize this is perfect. I will use these pictures over here. But when I figure out what I need to do, I don't need 5 pieces of art. I need 6. So I need another floating frame. Okay, so we're now at day 3 or 4, and we now need another frame. So go back to Target the next day, and guess what? They're out. So then the following day I go to another Target that's 30 minutes from here, and sure enough they have them, and I buy another floating frame, bring it home, found another piece of art, and then put them in the floating frames. I now have 6 floating frames, and I'm all ready to hang them. So the next day, when the boys were in school, I get all my things ready. I have them all laid out. I know exactly what it's going to look like on the wall. And I had purchased one of those As Seen on TV things. I know you're shocked. But anyway, like the little thing where it helps you, you know, hang the pictures in a level way. It has a little level on it, and what you do is put the picture on it, and then you push in where you want it once you have it positioned, and it will put a little indentation where you put the nail. So my floating frames are so large that they have 2 brackets, so I figure I will nail in where I want the first nail go, and then use this product to help me level it. So I put the nail in, and it's really awkward, so I'm like, you know, pushing up and pulling down, and finally get it exactly where I want it. I push it in to say where the nail's gonna go, and put my nail in and hang my picture up, and it's like, ooh, maybe on a 25-degree angle. Like the one side is a full 1.5 inches higher, of course, than I was wanting to put it. So I take the picture down, realize that it's, you know, 1.5 inches off, find my own level, get it right, put another nail in the wall. Now I have a hole in the wall above it. Of course, it's above the frame so that you're going to see it. And so irritating. So anyway, I decided that that was pretty useless, and so I was just going to have to hang them on my own. Well, I go to nail in the 3rd nail for the 2nd piece of artwork, and as I'm doing that, the first piece falls. Thankfully, I only had the hammer on my hand, so I was able to grab it before it shattered into a million pieces on the floor, which would have made me even cry harder because I was totally in tears by this point. This is such a frustrating process. I hadn't even gotten to number 2, and I mean, the whole project is just destroyed. I'd literally been out there for, out working on it for like almost 2 hours, and I have nothing done except now I have 3 holes in my wall. And I realized there's no shortcuts to hanging pictures. So my husband walks out, and I'm like sobbing, and he's like, it's just pictures. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. This is like day 5 of this process. Like every spare moment of my life has been devoted to these stupid pictures at this point. So the next day I go and I get I get wall anchors because that's what I'm going to need. They're heavy, you know, obviously I found that out. And then I got one of those really long levels because that's going to help me get my lines that I need to hang the 6 pictures. And so the following day, I think we're at day 10 now, I finally spend the morning hanging these pictures and the right way, like, you know, using math and a level, and it works out much better that way when you don't take shortcuts, I guess. But anyway, so finally I have a beautifully hung you know, artwork installation, and it really, once I had everything completed, it took just an hour and a half to get those things on the wall the proper way. But so that's what I'm saying, is like, if you came to just visit that post this week and you just like assume it took me, you know, 2 hours to do that or whatever. No, it took me 10 days, and not only 10 days, 10 frustrating days when nothing else got done in my life. Like, you know, like there's no dinner if I have pictures to hang. There's no, you know, there's no writing, there's no nothing. Like, this project consumed me for 10 days, and finally it's over. Hallelujah. And the point is now I feel like I deserve some recognition, and so I'm gonna post about it. In fact, I'll post about it more than once, likely, because of the As Seen on TV fiasco as well. So anyway, but I just want to kind of bring up the whole reality check here because, you know, normally I don't think I would have mentioned in my post, hey, by the way, you know, BTW, this took me 10 days, and, you know, hey, learn from my mistakes here. So I think we should all, like, really consider that when we're looking at something thinking somebody else is doing more than us, because there are sacrifices to anything. You know, the rest of my life was put on hold while I get these pictures up, and so I suspect I'm not the only one that's like that. So anyway, thanks so much for stopping by, and have a happy Monday.